It's a love-hate relationship. I've had a love-hate relationship with the Church of England and with religion in general ever since I first came into it, which is over 20 years ago now. If I stay in any one denomination or religion too long, I start to get restless, because I'm naturally an outside-the-box person, or on the edge person. I love the Church of England, absolutely love it. I think what's
Can you give us an example of that? I mean,
we're
fascinated. So, you're out of the box.
Out.
Personality. Just give us a flavour of that, because I know you've got quite a few examples.
Yeah, I think
from your book.
Sure. I think to be quite frank, living as a person who is both a priest and wants to hold on to his priesthood, and is a magician and mingles with druids and pagans, that's a sign of me being kind of a naturally outside the box person. Yeah. But also, you know, I've always pushed the boundaries. I've always tried to be fully, as far as I can be, myself. It hasn't done me any favours, but when I used to be a priest, when I used to be a priest in the Church of England as a vicar, I used to love using my Sunday sermon slots to try to challenge people, to challenge myself. I used to see it as a conversation that I was having with myself, but in public, and allowing people to eavesdrop. Some people would say that's not what preaching is. Preaching is about preaching Christ crucified, and that's it. But to me, preaching has to be honest. And I think there are lots of questions that we need to be honest with ourselves about. Most people have questions. I would rather not give people a whole load of pious platitudes on a Sunday that they're going to nod to and then forget. I'd rather let them see that I'm struggling with questions. I'm exploring different ideas, and use that as a moment to really challenge people, rather than just give them the pat answers. I was criticised quite often for taking that approach, and I occasionally would meet people who would almost look at me as if they're feeling sorry for me. And I remember one person saying to me, "Oh, we do feel sorry for you, Mark. You have such a lack of faith." And I felt a bit hurt by that, because to me I was expressing faith, because faith is not the same as certainty. She was talking about certainty. Well, yeah, I don't have any certainties. How can you? Life is uncertain. But yeah, the world of Orthodox religion. I'm not really frightened of Orthodox religion. I am slightly nervous of establishment religion.
Can you explain the difference for us?
Yeah, establishment religion is what I've kind of now decided to leave, because it puts you in a box. To me, I felt I was put in a box that was bigger than just orthodoxy. It was about respectability as well. It was about being a person that, you know, that in the end I couldn't be myself. I mean, it's closely related to orthodoxy, but it's a different thing.
So the church runs your life, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's more political than theological. Orthodoxy is about theology. I'm not worried about orthodoxy. Everybody has their own orthodoxies. Interesting, I was tested in orthodoxy this year by a lovely chap who was asked to test me, asked on behalf of another person, and I decided that
Did you pass?
I don't know. I mean, I had a report which didn't really like the fact that I was mingling too much with druids, to be quite frank, but also seemed to say that where I was very much under the Orthodox umbrella at the moment, because it is perfectly acceptable within the Church of England to be liberal, and to be liberal theologically. So the creed, you don't have to believe in a literal sense, and I know plenty of priests who don't believe the creed of the church literally. To me, I would say, how could you possibly believe that literally? It's metaphorical language for a start. So that's how I explained, you know, I'm quite happy to remain, if I decided to go back to it, to remain in an Orthodox tradition, but I'd have to be given the space to interpret certain things in the way that I feel is sensible for me, that makes sense. I'd never want to get rid of the creeds. A wonderful bishop called Bishop Jack Spong, he calls them, you know, early love songs to God, you know, or I think he said something like that. You know, it's they're not to be done away with, but they're not to be straitjackets either. But where is the Church of England at the moment? who am I to answer that? I was an Anglican priest for 13 years. I'm now on the way to becoming a different, joining a different, a far more open, I have to say, church community, which is Orthodox too, which is an Orthodox church denomination, but gives its clergy a little bit more freedom with how they interpret certain things, and certainly who they give the resources of the church to, the sacraments. The church that I'm about to become a priest within has a totally inclusive approach. So if somebody wants to have the children baptized, or if gay people want to be given a blessing for their relationship, there are no questions asked, and it's given as a free gift of grace, which I think is beautiful. But I mean, let's face it, if we look at the papers, if we listen to the news at the moment, the Church of England does sound like it's at war with itself. Probably always has been.
Is there still a sort of a bit of an anti-gay, a bit of an anti-woman, a bit of a anti-establishment, you might say, flavour in the church? I mean, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but sometimes we still read these stories, and I often wonder whether there isn't, and I know it's a strong word, a certain amount of hypocrisy in a sense behind some of it. That it's okay for him but not for her, and it's okay for him but not for him. There
is. I mean, one of the things, and I have to say this, the church and any religion is a human institution. The church is human, and humans we're light and dark. We're filled with baggage and faults, so we have to give permission for institutions to reflect that. I myself have been in the past a hypocrite, and I know I will be in the future. So if I ever say the church is...
And that doesn't bother you?
No.
Okay.
Because that's life, isn't it? I hope I'm not. And but I'm not. We spend too much time regretting. I'm sure I've been a hypocrite in the past. In fact, who hasn't? Right. And I'm sure I have the potential to be again. So I'm not going to point the finger at the church and say it's hypocritical. We just know that it is, because it's human. Now, the thing is, at the moment, there are a number of people within the church who still haven't got over the whole, the fact that we have gay people in the world. Let's face it, there's a large number of people, it seems, in the church who haven't yet grasped that, and seem to see it as odd.
Seems bizarre in the 21st century.
It is totally bizarre. It's bizarre on all sorts of levels. I mean, some of the most wonderful clergy, in the world. Some of my best friends, clergy friends, are gay people. Some of the best clergy are heterosexual people. I'm not saying that gay people are any better than heterosexual. But the fact is, we have gay people in our society, and thank God for that, because that's who they are, and that's right for them, and that's natural for them. And I want to be someone who, and I will be in the future, someone who will be able to offer, the church's blessing on a couple of the same sex who go through a civil ceremony and want to be blessed. And that is an issue that is tearing the church apart, so it seems. Another issue, as you just alluded to, is we seem to have kind of got to the point where we've accepted women priests, but for some, of course, we haven't. And now the next thing is women bishops, and I guess Church of England might go through some struggle with that one. I don't know. People are threatening to leave the Church of England over it, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I find it astonishing. And I have to say that I have got friends who still haven't come to terms with that, and I love them as friends. I don't really understand where they are with that. I can't begin to imagine why it would seem offensive or wrong to have a woman priest or bishop.
Could you ever foresee a woman pope or a woman Archbishop of Canterbury in our lifetime?
Well, I could see a woman Archbishop of Canterbury, because we have Anglican women bishops, thank God, in other parts of the world, and we will do in the Church of England. Pope, I don't know. There was one once, but that was a secret.
Right?
That was a secret. It's not my place to comment on the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've kind of...
Basically, this element of having, if you like, I mean, is it a case of equality, or is it a case of just the sort of, the church continues to identify with a patriarchal society? Is that it?
I don't know what it is. And you know, these sort of questions are ones that, thank God, I've kind of left, really, because the church that I'm about to join, which will give me the freedom to be exactly as I am and continue having the relationships in terms of, you know, the having friends who are who are members of nature-based groups.
Yeah.
The church that I'm about to join as a priest has women bishops, so you know, thank God for that, and you know, and gay blessings and whatever else. You know, so it's something that I've kind of left. And what I didn't want to be, because I did have an opportunity earlier this year to come back into the Church of England as a priest. What I decided in the end is that it would be wrong for me to do so, because I love the Church of England too much, and I really mean that. I don't want to be an antagonist within the Church of England because I'm burning to do something that I can't do within it. Right. So I'd either have to do secretly, or which I wouldn't want to do, you know, or I'd forever be arguing with the institution. I'd rather quietly step outside and do it with a group of people that I can be myself, and continue to love the Church of England as a friend, but maybe not as a member. I mean, as a magician, I offer myself to any group of people, religious or not, and plenty of Church of England dioceses and vicars will use me as an illusionist still.
Fantastic.
And I'm you know, grateful for all of those opportunities.